Sometimes, when life feels too loud, the only truth left is the one that moves in silence. This is the story of a child who stopped listening to the world and started listening to the wind. She didn't want the fastest way, or the clearest, or the one everyone else was taking. She wanted the way that felt like coming back to herself. So she stood still, eyes closed, heart open, and whispered, "Which way is forward for me?" The wind didn't answer with words, but it moved. And somehow, that was enough. She stepped beyond the last fence where the village ended and the world began. There were no signs, no names, just earth and sky and wind. 4 paths opened in front of her. One was wide, one was smooth, one was shaded, one was steep. She looked at them, not to decide, but to feel. Then she closed her eyes and waited. Not for a voice, not for a miracle, just for something that moved without noise. The wind shifted, not strong, but sure. It touched her cheek, her shoulder, the small of her back. She opened her eyes and turned toward the narrowest path, the one no one ever chose, and walked, not because she knew, but because she felt. She followed the way her breath softened. She stepped over fallen branches that looked like broken questions, passed by trees that leaned as if they had once followed the wind, too. Sometimes the path disappeared, sometimes it turned in circles, but she kept walking, not toward a place, but toward a feeling that kept whispering, "Keep going." The wind never gave her a map. It gave her something softer, a nudge, a breath, a feeling that didn't need to be explained. While others waited for signs, she learned to wait for silence, the kind where something real begins to speak. That's how she moved, not by logic, but by resonance. She followed what made her lungs relax, what made her heart slow down, just enough to listen. Most people ask, "Is this the right path?" She asked, "Does this feel like truth?" And the answer was never in words. It was in the weight of her feet, the softness in her belly, the moment her shoulders finally stopped bracing. The wind wasn't her guide, it was her reflection, the quiet part of her that always knew where to go, if she only slowed down long enough to feel it move. They say she never got lost, not because she always knew where she was, but because she always knew how to listen. When people asked her, years later, "How did you choose your path?" she would smile, close her eyes, and say, "I waited for the part of me that moves without noise to tell me where it wants to go." And somehow, that was always enough. Maybe you're standing at your own crossroad. No signs, no answers, just questions. Maybe this isn't the moment to decide. Maybe this is the moment to feel. Not what's loud, but what's true. Because sometimes the way forward isn't found. It's felt. Subscribe to Modern Oracle, where hidden truths become stories you can feel.